Hello, everybody, and welcome to a impromptu kind of sort of better late than ever episode of Game Rivals. I'm your host, as always, Maxemillian X, coming to you from the interwebs. Um, yeah, I haven't posted a new episode in a month. What's going on? Um, yeah, so this is going to be a quick one. It's just going to be an update on Game Rivals as a podcast and me moving forward. It's been a year. To just give a quick recap. So last year, my co-host Sean Templar decided that he wanted to do things beyond gaming, which I totally respect. And he's working on that right now. He's taking his time to do so, which it's cool. It's good to take your time to like get your stuff prepped. And from the stuff that he's talked about and what he's shown me, so far and like what he's working on. Oh, I can't wait for him to actually start putting stuff out. But besides that, it meant that I was gonna be soloing Game Rivals for a while until I found a new host. And for the most for the most of the year, I have been doing that. I have been helming Game Rivals for a good year on my own. Season 5 was just me, um, officially speaking. And at least for the majority of the year, I didn't have any guests on until like the last quarter of the year, where I was blessed enough to have a bunch of guests coming on. I even, due to some logistic stuff, had to push one to this year, which is still going to happen. This guest is still going to show up. I'm not going to say who it is yet, because I still need to work things out with this person. But they're excited about it. They're excited about it. I'm excited about it, very much so, because we're kind of on the same wavelengths. And so the whole year went by, and I did not stop looking for another co-host. Um, and I might have found one. Uh, you guys might have seen this person already. Uh, how we're gonna move forward is something that I'll have to discuss with this person, how we're going to do it. It might not be the same situation as what I had with Sean Templar, where basically every other week we come together and then we do a recording. Um, and this just has to do with, again, logistics and stuff and just how the podcast is done. Um, Speaking of how the podcast is done, the podcast is going to change moving forward. Basically, whenever I have this person on, it's going to be a more casual discussion, um, of what we've been doing in gaming, like what interesting news articles have caught our attention. It might not necessarily be the latest gaming news, um, but that's okay. The whole thing about Game Rivals has always been, to bring a different perspective on gaming news than that you see everywhere. Everybody basically saying usually the same stuff or just reporting on the news, which is fine. For those that can do that and do that well, that's excellent. That's awesome. That is not me. I've tried it. I mean, if you looked at the past year of Game Rivals and basically how Game Rivals has been for the past 5 years, going on six now, mostly what we did was like pick some top stories, um, tell you about the top stories, and then basically tell our opinions. And usually we go on a tangent and we go off on things. Um, I basically want to do the opposite. So basically, what I want to do whenever this new co-host, um, whenever I'm with this new co-host, is we basically flip it around. So we don't talk about the latest news, but we do talk about news that we find interesting, and we basically go off from that and then talk about. Uh, we try to break it down as to so that people that are not very versed in gaming news understand why we're bringing this up, and then bring our own opinions to it as we always do. So that's basically the format that's going forward. When this person is not able to record with me, it'll be just me, and I'll do the stuff that I've always done with a little bit of a twist. Um, I'll probably do less news, and I'll just bring up a news article that is interesting, that I want to deep dive into it a little bit more, and hopefully make it at least a little bit more entertaining. Another thing that I've always wanted to do is make the podcast a little bit more visually interesting. Um, so I have decided that I wanted to get into video editing. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's gonna build up, and not everything's gonna look great. This does mean that the video version might not always go out on time. The audio version probably might go out first because that is still the easiest thing for me to edit. Um, Usually, and try to get around that and make sure that that is there. The audio version will always be consistent, but the video version might take some time to get out. Um, I always try to make sure that it comes out at the same time, but video editing is way, way more challenging than the basic audio edits that I do. And let's not kid ourselves, my audio edits are very basic, um, especially when it comes to like the sound quality. You could probably hear it now. It's partially because of the room, which is hopefully down the line when I'm able to like get some stuff situated, improve the layout of my room, uh, uh, and the layout will probably change. And hopefully, I can get some like audio panels and stuff like that, so it reduce like reverbs and stuff like that naturally occurring in the room. Because there's only so much software can do, guys. There's only so much some software can do. And no, I'm not going for some AI solution because usually the AI solutions that are really good cost money. And that is a challenge since I don't make money on this podcast um or this YouTube channel that you're watching or the podcast app that you're listening to. I'm not making any money off that. So basically everything that I do for the podcast comes from my own pocket. It would be great if the podcast got big enough so that it could get monetized and then it would essentially pay for itself through um, like revenue. But we're not there yet. I'm not at that point yet. The podcast is not at that point yet. When it gets to that point, excellent, awesome. But I'm not in a rush for it to get there. If it does get there, great. If it doesn't get there, that's fine. Um, Although to be fair, I did always make the joke with Sean Templar that the day that Game Rivals got sponsored by Manscaped is the day that we know that we have truly arrived. And I stick by that. I stick by that. If anybody from if anybody from Manscaped is listening and is willing to give this little itty bitty podcast a shot at doing an ad read for Manscaped, I would love to do it. I love the ad reads for Manscaped. Whenever I hear them on other channels and other podcasts, I'm like, dang, that is so fun. That is so much fun. Um, but yeah, like what until that point, um, any kind of like technological updates to the podcast will be coming out of my own pocket, and that takes time because it takes money, and money takes time. Then we can go around on that. So, what can you expect from Game Rivals going forward? Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the regular schedule, which does mean that after you see this podcast, after you see this update, the week after that, there should be a new episode of Game Rivals, both audio and video, as per usual, on the YouTube channel that you're watching right now. What I'm also doing is I'm working on some other video related stuff for the channel. For longtime listeners, I don't know if those are still around, but if you go back into our audio archives, me and Sean used to have a nice little segment on the podcast called Hidden Gems. And Hidden Gems is one of those things that basically came from me wanting to share my love of video games, especially retro games, with all of you guys. And yeah, at a certain point, it got a bit harder, um, mostly because we try to focus on games that people can acquire. But I feel that part of it is part of the reason why I love doing hidden gems is not just so that people know of games that they can go and get. It's part of that's part of it. That has always been part of it. The other part of it has been putting that information out there and knowing that these games existed. It's one of the reasons why I love projects uh, and like the Video Game History Foundation, where they are just doing like the most amazing work in terms of preserving video game history. And it's it's something that is very inspiring to me, especially as like a retro gamer. I love that kind of stuff, and the fact that they're compiling this information is so awesome. Um, and then also making it available for people to like seek out. Uh, it's just it's just so cool. I kind of wish I could work on stuff like that, but that's not where I am right now. But I love sharing video games classics, hidden gems of games that you may have not have heard of, but are worth checking out if you're in that possibility of being able to check it out, either by getting an original or I'm not gonna finish that sentence. But yeah, so like there is always a way of playing video games that are a bit harder to get. Um, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, that's fine. You don't need to know. What you do need to know is that there's always a way to play what you want to play. That being said, I am currently working on doing a hidden gems short series. I'm working on that as we speak. It's gonna take some time because I want to make a nice little repository of shorts that'll go out. That'll go out as scheduled in a nice trickle fashion. I don't want to make one now and then like not be able to make one for like a couple of weeks because of work and life and stuff. I want there to be able to for people to enjoy the content um going, even if I have to take a break from editing those shorts. And you think, oh, shorts, it's not that hard to make. Yeah, so I will say this: I have all the respect in the world for video editors. You y'all make things look so easy and so effortless. It is not. It is not easy and effortless, guys. It is so much harder than I thought. And I always thought that video editing was like challenging. Doing simple things, that's fine. But like the crazy stuff that they do, like transitions, like freaking explosions and stuff like that, and like having like yourself pop up in the video and being like, it's like having multiples of yourself, stuff like that. They make it seem easy when they do like those ads of like, oh, this made easy, or here's how to do this. And it's like, no, that is way more challenging when you actually put it into practice than someone just showing you how it works, right? It's it's like someone showing you a magic trick, and then you're like, oh, so that's how that works. And then you try and do it, and you can't. You keep messing up because it is a lot harder than you think. So that's going to take some time, so please bear with me with the hidden gems. It is a big passion of mine. Uh normally something like this I would probably put on my normal channel, but I also want to continue to grow Game Rivals, and I feel that something that started on Game Rivals should be a part of Game Rivals. So hidden gems as a short series will be on the Game Rivals channel, not on my own. um Other than that, yeah, do expect Game Rivals to be bi-weekly still. If there's any special things that I can do, like unboxings, which have become less and less, thank you, digital media. Oh, jeez, I don't like that. I don't want to go off to an attention in this video, but I do miss doing that kind of stuff, and there's nothing I can do about that because there's less and less of that happening. But yeah, do expect a normal episode, a regular episode ish, going live next week. And then every other week, we'll be back with an episode of Game Rivals. And you can look forward to that at least for the foreseeable future because I love doing game rivals. I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. But I'm also not going to lie, being able to take this break and to reassess things has been pretty good for me. And honestly, it's also been good for my mental being. I'm not going to lie. It can be a little bit stressful. I can't even imagine the people that do weekly podcasts. And like I love doing game rivals, but it combining it with work is a little bit challenging. If it was a part of my work, it would not be challenging. It would be actually fun, even more fun than it is right now. Right now, it's fun because I get to share gaming stuff with all of you, and share like my love and passion for video games through this way. Outside of like my live streams that I do on Twitch, twitch.tv/ Maximillian X. So yeah, that's what it's gonna be. That's how Game Rivals is gonna be, right? Um, Look forward to a lot of cool stuff because 2024 is already off to some crazy stuff in terms of gaming. There are a lot of big games coming out. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, uh, Princess Peach Showtime's coming out. Uh, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Uh, uh, I was about to say, yeah, Avowed. Yeah, Avowed. Um, Visions of Mana. Good grief. The Indiana Jones game coming out on Xbox. I don't know what else PlayStation is doing right now. What is PlayStation? Oh, right, Helldivers 2. I mean, live service games, right? So I think that's it. Like I said, this is just a short update. Um, we'll see how things go. Uh, Game Rivals is here. It's not going anywhere. Uh, so look forward to season 6 properly starting off next week. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening to me. I appreciate it. As always, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and I have been and always will be Maximillian X, and I'll see all you beautiful people next time. Later.